Good evening, good evening, good evening. Well, Real News Live, this is Tuesday, or Thursday, I'm sorry, 3/17 at 9:49. Sorry for being on a little bit late. Hi, Nana. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, Michael. Hi, Richard. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Susie. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Tobin. Hi, Rodney. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Debbie Martin. Hi, Danette. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Joe. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Tia. Hi, Matt. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Retha. Hi, Billy. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you all. If you're Irish, have a drink. Definitely deserve one. Oh, a lot going on. Hi, Ronnie from Tennessee. Hi, Tobin. Hi, Susie. Hi, Jan. Please hit that share button if you're in here. Hi, Michael. You're Irish. You're lucky. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. I haven't seen Alex, so I'm guessing he's coming or he's working tonight. Anyways, a lot going on in the world. A lot going on in the world, and not everything's good, bad, or indifferent. We know, of course, the war, of course, going on in Ukraine. We'll get to that. But first, let's talk about what's happening with oil. As crude could face an easily $200 a barrel, even if Ukraine war ends, as Russia's supply will be gone for good. Supply from Russia will no longer be there. As pumps draw petroleum, it's just a sign. Russia's oil is out of the market for good. He said the 4 million barrels a day that are now circulation since Russia attacked Ukraine, out of circulation. The oil prices will need to reach $200 a barrel to keep up with demand. This is the sad fact. If oil price reaches that kind of barrel price, the balance in the market, people won't be able to afford anything. You won't be able to afford oil, you won't be able to afford food and everything else. This is an ongoing issue. Even though there'll still be oil to buy, if gas prices are $10 to $12 a gallon, who's going to be able to afford it? And I don't think it'll be a sudden, they'll suddenly stop fighting and oil comes back. I mean, yeah, Russia may stop or may make a deal, which I hope they do, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, with Ukraine about not joining NATO and everything else, and a ceasefire actually happening. But who's to say Putin will not just feel confident and launch an attack in another country right after that? Who's to say that won't happen? Estimates, of course, the Middle East perhaps increasing production by 1.5 million barrels a day, still leaving a deficit of 2.5 million barrels a day crater. To make up the difference, the world needs to find ways to reduce demand. As we can't reduce demand, of course, because we are an oil consumption world. 2.5 million barrels a day missing from the market is, of course, a deficit of oil. the flooding of the market helped temporarily, but oil prices today went up 6% alone, as people don't realize the impact that's going to happen long term. Hi, Alex. Oil prices went up 6% today alone. It's sad. How convenient for electric cars? It's not convenient because we don't have a power grid or infrastructure to power electric cars at this point. This is not a convenience. Yeah, they need to remove restrictions and just remove the restrictions and allow Americans to drill their own oil at this point. The problem is we should be flooding the market with oil. If they really want to go solar, really want to go green, you flood the market with oil. Very simple process. So barrel prices come down to like $10 or $12 a barrel. So gas prices would be well under $3 a gallon. You charge $3 a gallon, flat rate everywhere charges $3 a gallon. The government taxes everything, the difference. That's the government takes that in as a tax. They put that in a fund to fund going green, to redo the power grid, to fix the problems of the power grid, to push to motivate people to buy green electric cars. Because then you're using something that's a commodity that you have plenty of to fund something you want to achieve. Energy independence from greenhouse gases or anything. It's not a process. You cannot take away the oil and hope that the market fixes it, because it's not going to. Long term, it does not work that way. Now, flooding the market with oil, cheap oil, getting oil prices down to $10 a barrel would easily change the dynamic of oil and allow America to get more efficient solar and everything else by incentivizing that stuff with the tax differential they're allowing from big oil. They're taking in from big oil. And that's a justifiable means in order to find an end to the solution. Yes, Russia is on a higher state of nuclear alert right now, but that is not because of what's going on in Ukraine. That's because of other things, and I can't talk about those. Interest rates. The Fed's going to raise the rate 6 times this year, or 7 times, maybe. It is sad. But in order to get away from oil, that's the way we have to do it. Locking gas caps are hard to find. They're going to get harder to find. They're going to get harder to find. Buy a horse before you buy an electric car. Well, electric vehicles aren't a bad thing necessarily. I'm not going to say electric vehicles are bad, because they're not. But they are not perfected enough to where they're reasonable. If we perfect solar to a point where you can put solar panels on an electric vehicle and it charges your vehicle, say even if it only charges your vehicle 60 miles a day, if it sits in the sun 8 hours, then it would be efficient, because if you lose power to your house, you can still drive. Your car can still charge. You might not be able to go far, but you can go to the grocery store, you can go here, you can go there. It still produces its own power, at least enough power to drive to work and back at a reasonable distance. And that's the thing. Solar has to come to that. Yeah, Alex, that's deep state garbage. If you live in the sticks, then you would have to get an extended range one of these vehicles. But I'm saying an electric car that could charge itself 80 miles a day with solar panels, with solar technology, getting to that point would be a drastic difference, a drastic change. A drastic difference. But the oil prices hitting $20 or $200 a barrel projected this year is ridiculous. Who's going to be able to pay for that? Who's going to be able to afford that at this point? Going on that, we'll go to the new B2 Omicron variant, or the Omicron stealth variant B2. Of course, it was not a big concern 2 weeks ago. It was about 7% of cases around the world. Today, it's making up 23% of new cases of COVID around the world. In the next few weeks, it's expected to hit the United States. It's expected to start to rise here, the case count, which will be a difference. Experts fear that it will be in the United States and we'll see a raise in the next few weeks as B2 variant continues to spread. Now, no, it is not deadly or as deadly. It's like the flu. I'm not going to say it's worse than the flu. I'm not going to say it's similar to the flu. I don't know exactly where it lands on the target there. But the prevalence is going to triple every 2 weeks. We're going to see a high case count again. We're going to see people getting sick again, just like they get sick with the flu every year. But those case counts are going to go up during the summer months, which is going to be a drastic difference from what we've seen in the past. I mean, we haven't, the Omicron variant came out in 129. We haven't seen really any cases, less than 10,000 cases per day around the world. Now it's climbing to over 20,000 to 30,000 as of the 12th. I mean, so the jump is going up very quickly as the curve is making it happen. I mean, I'm not going to say it's any worse because it's not. It'll become the dominant variant in the country. It'll surpass the original Omicron variant. And we'll see cases go up. We'll see some hospitalizations go up. But it's not any worse than any other variant of COVID. I mean, according to all the research I've done. But I want to talk to you guys about it because nobody's talking about what's happening. And I think people need to understand. It's going to come again. And now you no longer have the government subsidies because we took that money away for you to go get COVID tested or for you to go to the hospital because you had COVID. We took that money away. We gave that money away to Ukraine and other countries along that line. So, another thing. What? What happened? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It'll take years. That's the reason oil has to be mass produced. Oh, Susie. Yeah, that's another thing. New York Times. I didn't even get to that, and I didn't even get to pull it up yet because I just was reading the article right before I came live. Billy, I know you sent it to me. They told me that. New York Times comes through and says the Hunter Biden laptop is real. It's not a fake story. What a surprise. All the other stuff going on on TV, you know, they try to sneak an article out where nobody's actually hearing it and actually understanding what's happening. Alex, that is not efficient. Okay, that's you cannot produce nothing for nothing. There's always loss. So charging the other battery, actually, the power it requires for the motor to run to charge the other. I won't get into all this, but I'm going to. When it takes power to charge or to run an alternator, it actually takes more power to move that alternator to produce the same amount of power that you're expending. You always lose power and efficiency. Always. Does not. Mathematically, it can never happen. It would break the laws of physics. Break the laws of physics. Unfortunately, didn't break the laws of physics, so I would say, go for it. Yeah, no such thing as perpetual motion. There's something close to perpetual motion, but it's not even perpetual motion at that point. But going from there to NATO, Estonia, of course, today, the chief of defense says for Estonia, NATO should intervene if Russia uses weapons of mass destruction. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. But 30 members of the alliance so far have refused to put troops on the ground in fear that it would escalate the conflict against the nuclear-powered Russia, sparking a third world war. Russia has accused Ukraine of operating chemical and biological weapons laboratories backed by the U.S. We know there's biological laboratories backed by the U.S. for sure, without a question. We have the documents to prove it and the money that the Department of Defense and everybody sent there to do it. Moreover, the West believes that the accusations could actually be Moscow. And this is another thing. The West is putting up a false flag saying Moscow is going to use biological weapons in Ukraine, saying that we have biological weapons facilities. Well, we know we have biological weapons facilities there. We have them around the world. If you go to embassy.com, the biological weapons facility thing is back up on the embassy.com for the UA. So if you go over there and check it out. But NATO should get directly involved in the Russian-Ukrainian war if Moscow deploys weapons of mass destruction against its neighbor. Estonia's chief defense minister said members of NATO have so far supported Ukraine by sending lethal weapons, not defensive weapons, lethal weapons and other military equipment to Kiev so it can better defend itself against Russia, against the unprovoked onslaught, which we've already talked about here if you're with us. There's a lot of stuff that happened. It's not exactly unprovoked. And what Russia's asking for, Zelensky's talking about and maybe doing for him. But at the same time Zelensky was talking about it, U.S. congressmen are like, no, you cannot be weak. You cannot show weakness with Russia, otherwise they will take you over, pushing Zelensky to keep fighting. However, the 30-member alliance refused to put troops on the ground and fears that it would escalate the conflict, however. But asked Wednesday if the use of weapons of mass destruction, a broad term used to describe biological, nuclear, or chemical weapons, should push NATO to intervene in the conflict. The chief defense force for Ukraine said, if Russia uses weapons of mass destruction, I think yes. Which could lead to a crisis beyond crisis. We already know that there's false flag operations going on in Ukraine and we could say this, the Secretary Jens Stoltenberg, who said the alliance was concerned that Moscow is staging a false flag operation, possibly to include biological or chemical weapons. They only repeated that after the United States has already said that, knowing that we had biological plants there. 6%. Oil went up 6% today. If one country, Elizabeth, goes in, we all go in. That's part of NATO. That's part of NATO's alliance, Article 5. Yeah, COVID-19, I believe, was the first shot. As we follow through with these ones after another, it is getting scary out there. These are aspects that are going to end up in our world, as NATO thinks they should step in, pushing everybody into a war. Please share the stream out and hit that thumbs up button if you're in here. It definitely affects the stream. I know you guys don't realize how much it does, but it definitely does. Just hitting that reaction button affects the stream. We have 33 likes and 54 viewers right now. It's Facebook, yeah. And it's not just it's certain Android users. It's not all Android users. It's certain phones. Yeah, Estonia is part of NATO, unfortunately. Pushing a war on a front that we don't want to be on a war on. And I don't think if people understand a war with Russia would mean direct impact with here in the United States. I think that's a big disconnect. Because people are saying we should go in and we should do a no-fly zone. I don't think people understand what that means. Going in, making a no-fly zone in Ukraine means sending American pilots to shoot down Russian pilots. Or sending NATO pilots to shoot down Russian pilots, which would immediately escalate this into a World War III situation. World War III situation would have effects here at home more than we're feeling now. As NATO, of course, would draw us into an escalatory situation where it would be tick for tack strikes until one of the countries decided they were just going to blow the shit out of the other one. Let's be honest. I'm not going to play it lightly. I'm not going to try to make it sound good. No country's ever going to invade the U.S. That's the problem. People don't understand. They don't need to invade the U.S. They just need to destroy it. Russia would not try to put ground troops in the U.S. not until they basically leveled it. No country would. It would be a stupid or losing party for anybody to try to put troops on the ground in the U.S. It's sad. It is sad when gold is now projected within this year to hit $10,000 an ounce, as inflation is going drastically out of control, and people aren't talking about that. Everything that's happening around the world. Mortgage rates are up above 4% for the first time since 2019, as the Fed's only raised the interest rate 0.25%. They're talking about doing this 7 more times this year. Sometimes it'll be 0.5%. I hate to see what interest rates are like at the end of this year. I would hate to see what interest rates are like at the end of this year. It's going to be a drastic problem. This war is causing more impact than anybody could even see coming. We talk about Ukraine. The Kremlin, basically, Russia tells the U.S. it has no right to lecture Russia on war crimes. And it truly does not. We may not have lost a lot of soldiers in Afghanistan or countries we've been in, but we have killed rows of citizens. Right now, we're actually targeting airstrikes in parts of South Africa, claiming that we're taking out these pirates. Well, we're taking out their families, their children, their women, not just the pirates themselves. And it is sad. It is sickening when you actually hear the actual stories happening out there of these people that were killed by, or their economy has been killed by big oil. And it's not a joke. Big oil is prevalent in some places in Africa, especially along the Somalian coast, where oil pollutants have ran off into their streams. They can no longer fish to provide food for their small village. And these men are turning to piracy to demand food, water, basic necessities. At first they were declaring or claiming money. And of course that wasn't working very well because they would get the money and it would be seized by the United States anyways, or another country would seize the money. Now they're asking for supplies, and they're not asking for ridiculous things. They're asking for what you would consider necessities. Pirating vessels, asking for necessities. So what are we doing? We're dropping bombs and burning villages. But yet we have the right to say what's happening in Ukraine is wrong. NATO's doing this as the alliance itself, not as an individual country, by the way. We look at those facts. What does that really mean? Where does that make us in the world? Yeah, I'm talking, Brian, I don't know if you've seen the updated prediction. My prediction was $15 an ounce in 3 years, before anybody else. The updated prediction is $10,000 an ounce this year, by the end of this year. By the end of this year. And that would be crazy. But America really needs to look and see what they're doing. And the NATO and people, the civilization, citizens, need to look at what NATO's doing. What the America's doing, what Russia's, or what Europe's doing, what Germany's doing, what everybody's doing. I mean, you go to Poland and you say, NATO is supposed to be this nice nation that, or nice agreement between all these countries that are democratic, that are not racist or biased or anything. But you go through these countries and look at their actual population counts, the people they don't allow into their country, the reasons they don't allow them. Racism is rampant everywhere. And the United States is the farthest place from being racist. I'm going to say that out of everywhere. Yeah, you saw B-52. Yeah. We have bombers over there. We have F-35As, which carry nuclear payloads. Yeah. Well, I don't even know if it's public yet, but that's what projections of Goldman Sachs. I know they're going to come out with projections this week. Economics tanking means people buy more gold. When stock market falls, gold prices go up. Stock market is falling, gold prices are going up. That's a thing that's going to happen. But we see what's happening out there today. Let's go through these real quick. Of course, a lot of chit chat, people talking, saying Russia's too aggressive. This is a ridiculous Once again, I'm going to say this again because I know I'm going to read this in here about some cluster munitions right here. This talks about use of cluster munitions in Ukraine. Ukraine has already admitted to using cluster munitions upon their own citizens. Once again, Ukraine has already admitted it, not trying to deny it, against their own residents. But yet, NATO security envoy to the Security Council says Russia's besieged cities and towns, indiscriminately bombing residential neighborhoods and using cluster ammunitions. Where is the story about Ukraine doing it to their own citizens? That's what I want to know. Because I've seen this several times today about cluster munitions being used, supposedly by Russia, when Ukraine has already admitted doing this to their own citizens. You can go right on to Azov's site, which is a military branch of Ukraine, saying they're doing this to their own citizens. It is not like a hidden spiel that nobody understands. Azores. It's, yeah, Azores.org.ua. It's right on their site. I mean, it's part of their log. They talk about attacking pro-Russian Ukrainian citizens that like Russia. Because they like Russia, they're a terrorist organization. So they're bombing them, destroying them, killing them, starting back in 2014 at alarming rates. Bragging about it. I showed you the Warhammer last night with their great old leader, Hitler himself, on the hammer. It's ridiculous watching what's happening out there. And Biden, of course, again today, refers to Putin as both a murderous dictator and a pure thug. Are you trying to escalate or de-escalate? Because those are not words of de-escalation. I'll tell you that. That is not a de-escalation technique used by anybody within this government or this world. That's escalatory or fighting words. You call somebody a murderous dictator or a thug or pure thug, those are fighting words. Believe it or not, using those words in public against somebody else, you could be charged with inciting violence. Whether Putin is or not, you do not say that as a public official. Those are fighting words. You escalate stuff by saying those kind of things. Just sad. The UAE counterparts of Moscow, they welcome all mediation of efforts to solve this crisis in Ukraine. I mean, you are the biggest oil countries in the world siding with Russia. The UAE selling off American dollars. Syria, Saudi Arabia selling off American dollars and buying Chinese yen. Yeah, China talking about backing the yen with gold, making the yen a gold-backed currency, which would drastically change the dynamic. If we no longer have the world or the global currency, yeah, we'll still be having some buying power because our currency never loses 100% of its value. But we'll have a lot less. And China will charge us every penny we have for it. Yeah, the new world leader. That's what we need. A new world order. Is that what you're saying? No, that's not what we need. We don't need Zelensky saying that Biden should be the president of the world. That was a freaking joke. I cannot believe that statement that I read that Zelensky said Biden should be the president of the world. What kind of joke is that? Biden shouldn't be the president of the United States, much less the president of the world. He needs to learn how to tie his shoes and walk by himself, or remember where he's standing at before he becomes president of anywhere, even the nursing home he should be in. Sad day when you go around the world. We all need to become self-sufficient individually. Yeah, too many fake narratives. We need to create a new army. That makes no sense. I have a feeling you're just trolling us in here, jahaha. Anything like that will get you in trouble quicker than anything on Facebook. We're not trying to do that. So if you're not trolling, please do not say stuff like that because you will get, Facebook will eventually get you unbanned. Not us. It's sad though. We need to form a group, not an army, Jeff. A group of people that are self-sufficient, that know how to provide for themselves. A friendly club of people. Let's say it the right way. A friendly club. How about that? It's crazy. It is crazy watching what's happening here in the world. It is crazy what's happening around the globe because of what's happening in Russia. Yes. Definitely not that G word. A luncheon. A luncheon. A red hat society. Or purple hat society. That's what we'll make. We'll have a purple hat society. Try to call that bad. But it's sad. It really is sad no matter what we're facing here in the United States. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Whether it's inflation that kills us, or depression, or recession. We're facing all three. Could you imagine American dollars losing value while goods are not available, even to buy in the first place? Because that's what's happening now. We have less goods available, dollar is losing value, which is an alarming precedent. That has never happened at the same time. Usually the goods are just hard to buy. Prices go up. This is the opposite of that. Prices aren't going up. The American dollar is truly losing value. The Black Gulf Society. uh, I never thought I would see this in my lifetime. I never once thought I would see this in my lifetime. I am 35 years old. I don't know if you guys know that. I work very hard for what I do. Um, yeah, a lot of people don't understand what's truly happening and how close we are to a brink. Our infrastructure was built on a supply-demand constant movement to the point where now we require constant movement in order to keep going. As we see the economy stall over and over again, COVID to one thing to the next, it almost seems like it's staged or placed together. Koch brothers are not moving a factory out of Ukraine. What a surprise. But really, why should they at this point? Of course, if you guys want to call in, I'm going to open up the lines here. No, it says call in available. I didn't have the lines open. It's sad. Times are going to move forward. Things are going to get harder. People are going to have to go through tougher times, whether it be one crisis after another or one deal after another. You got to move forward. Yeah, the southern border is a freaking joke, and we'll get to that another night because I don't feel like getting into all that. I mean, we're putting so much freaking money to Ukraine, but we can't even provide half of that to our southern border. Border security, even to Republican officials, is out of the question. Republican officials aren't even getting involved in border security at this point. And it is sad and sickening to see. This is our America, and our America is going down the toilet. Surging gas prices, sign of an inflation bomb coming, basically. Southern border being open because even this new bill that just hit, Democrat or Republican bill that's going in office, it still allows amnesty for all these illegal immigrants that came in illegally. Now Republicans are pushing amnesty with border security. But what does border security mean? A little bit of extra technology. That's their border security. No border or COVID money. We can't afford to give Americans more benefits. The cost of food is increasing. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to end the pandemic benefits for food stamps. Anybody that was getting their pandemic benefits for food stamps, gone. Because those people that truly need the extra money, I mean, if you're on food stamps, you obviously do not have big income. The Hunter Biden laptop is not a hoax. It's confirmed today that it was no longer a hoax, Jason. Literally, our government is taking from its own citizens to give to a foreign country, to make a foreign country stronger and more powerful. Because they can't defend themselves, so now we have to. And of course, what happens when America can no longer feed their own people? Who's going to feed us? I guarantee not a single one of those countries would turn around and help us and feed us and supply us with billions of dollars worth of food and billions of dollars worth of weapons and supplies. Just flowing out like it's water. Because America, we give to everybody, take from our own citizens. Keep taking that money out of your check every week. I mean, I think maximum food stamp benefits did go up a little bit this year, but the cost of groceries went up drastically. Drastically, I think the food stamp increase was like 3 or 5%. It's something ridiculous, and cost of living went up. Like so far, I think between last time it got raised and now, I think it's up like 62%, and the food stamp increase was 3%. That makes real sense. So America and food stamps are not supposed to provide you all. It's supposed to be supplemental, not all your money for food. So if you make, say you're on Social Security and you're getting the bare minimum, which is $8 something a month, that's all you're getting. And then you got to pay your insurance out of that, and then you got to pay your rent, and then you got, say you got 2 kids, so 2 kids to feed, clothes. Where's the money come from? But yet we're sending money to Ukraine, letting people go homeless here in America. The homeless rate's going to go up, guaranteed, and it's going to go up faster. The U.S. took Iraq in 10 days. Oh, Lord, please help these souls. Please help these souls. I'm not getting into that. Yeah, supplemental nutrition assistance. But the problem is, the price of food went up and the price of everything else went up. But yet you could be disabled. Disability and food stamps should be at least to cover the basic necessities. Yeah, no rent help, no help with paying for your gas bill, for your heating bill right now, because all those funds are gone. Food banks are running out of food. I know a couple food pantries here that don't have food. Yeah, breadline food rations. They're rationing what they give out in bread, and to an extreme degree now. Literally, you go and wait in line, and they'll give you 2 or 3 days worth of food. Period. And that's very scarce food for 2 or 3 days, if you want to call it that, per calorie count per person. So then you're actually going down that road. You have to go to your food pantry, and you can only go to that food pantry, say, once a month. So you have to find how many food pantries in order to help you? Iraq was not even in there. And the invasion of Iraq was in 2003, not in 1990 something. And it took 1 month, 1 week, and 4 days. 1 month, 1 week, and 4 days. And there was no fighting back in 2004. or 2003 when the invasion happened. Know your facts, please. Please. Weapons of mass destruction, yeah. Who's that? Less than $10 a day to feed 3 meals a day. Desert Storm was totally different. In Desert Storm, we didn't go in ground forces. In Desert Storm, we should have never been involved in. That was an oil fucking... I'm not even getting into that. I'm going to sign off here before I start really cussing. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful night. If you guys can afford to donate, because we are trying to raise money for charity right now. We're Easter baskets for families in need. If you guys can afford to donate to that, please do. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we leveled an entire country, killing over millions of people, Dave. Let's say Russia did that. Oh, that would be a humanitarian crisis. Right? But the US doesn't, and it's not a big deal. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful night. Take this call before I go. Hello. Welcome to Real News Live. You're live on air.
Hi, Chris. It's Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. How you doing?
I'm doing. Hold on. I got to turn you down because on my thing.
Okay.
Are we live?
Yep. You want me to take it off live?
No, it's all right. It's echoing really funny. Okay, so first thing, I saw that fundraiser for the volunteers. Huh?
Yeah, I sent back links. You should have clicked on the link, and if you follow that, it'll ask you to sign up, and then I have to go through and approve it.
Okay.
For signing up for volunteers. It'll look like you're doing a fundraiser for Easter. So then you go out and you, of course, share it everywhere you can, or share with friends and family about what's going on in the project and how you're involved and what your goal is to help as many people as possible, you know. And you could set your own amount. Like, say, if you want to try to raise $500, then it would go directly towards the fundraiser that way. Because we are a charity, we're able to do this, so we're trying to do as much as possible to get the word out there.
Okay.
Definitely appreciate anybody that joined the fundraiser, anybody that can help get it out there and get people to donate.
Then I'll just click on the link and it'll.
Yeah, you click on the link, and then it'll take you thing to register for the fundraiser. And then when I go on to donorbox.org, when I sign into the actual charity account, I can add you in as a fundraiser or a volunteer for the fundraiser. We actually don't write off any taxes here, Teresa. I pay taxes on every penny that comes in, no matter what. I believe the government needs the money for our citizens, but that's going to change. The charity is no longer going to be paying taxes, period, because we are a charity. So.
All right. So when I click on it, it'll explain everything to me.
Yeah, after you fill out the form and you get back, it'll tell you exactly how to set everything up and everything and what you. Yeah, it's really self-explanatory.
I don't have money to donate, but I think I can do that. Try and get some people to donate.
Yep, and we definitely appreciate it. We understand right now it's hard. Right now it is so hard. But I cashed out some crypto, so I know I'll be covering most of this year's Easter, but just try to raise what we can to help out as many people as we can.
And then the second thing I wanted to ask about, what did you think about that Walmart fire?
I don't know. The whole thing is like fishy to me still.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've been following it, and they're saying that it started it on the third floor, and then some people that actually worked there said that it started in a trailer, in one of the trailers up at a dock. Well, how the hell did that huge building burn from a fire that started in a trailer? It doesn't make sense. Nothing they're saying about it makes any sense at all. Because that was a huge place.
Well, the thing that doesn't make sense is the inventory list that they're claiming for. I'll get into that another night. There's an inventory list that they're claiming for insurance already. That workers are saying weren't even that stuff. Some of that stuff wasn't even in the building, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, that was my next thing that I was going to say. Was that store even stocked? I mean, come on now. Was there even? Who knows?
Yeah, we'll get into that. And we'll see what the actual numbers come out to be. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna not taking the insurance claim at all because they're gonna know they're gonna get caught for fraud on it. But.
Right. All right. I know you're frustrated and you got a little bit upset, so I'll let you go. You have a good night and take care of yourself, okay? And thank you for everything that you're doing. Really appreciate it.
God bless you guys. We definitely appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. And we'll see you tomorrow night. God bless everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
And God bless the United States. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you guys tomorrow night at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Good night.